How did Donald Trump manage to defy expectations and win one of the most controversial elections in American history? In this video, we'll dive into the strategies and key factors that contributed to his historic victory, from the influence of the media to his ability to leverage economic and political shifts. Stay tuned to uncover the secrets behind his success. It may be difficult for many outside the United States to understand why millions of Americans want Donald Trump back in power, but there are 5 reasons why. The personal factor. Despite being a billionaire and part of the American elite for decades, Trump seems to many Americans to be relatable. He speaks with the casualness of a regular guy in a bar, and sometimes he can say things that are inappropriate. He freely says what's on his mind, and he can enforce his opinion. He also has a reputation as a fighter, and not just since the 2 attempted assaults on him, and these are qualities voters seem to want in the White House. In contrast, some see Vice President Kamala Harris's professionalism and ability to focus as arrogant and inauthentic. Money. Perhaps no other society in the world has embraced hypercapitalism more than the United States, an economic system that relies heavily on free markets, minimal government intervention, and the idea of free enterprise. For many voters, the economy is always at the top of their agenda. But in the campaign, it rarely means strong growth or the general direction of the national economy. Rather, it is about simpler matters: how much will yogurt, eggs, chips, and beer cost at the supermarket, and how much will gasoline cost? The coronavirus pandemic has led to inflation-driven price increases, and not just in the United States, and every voter has felt this increase in their wallets every day, even as wages have risen over time. Many have blamed the economic policies of President Joe Biden and his running mate Kamala Harris. They have expressed their discontent with their votes, prioritizing their personal finances over issues like personal virtue or democratic values. Popularity. Trump's most loyal base is primarily white men without a college degree. Statistics show that the income of this group in the United States was much higher than the American average in 1980, but today it is significantly lower. In a society where the country's vast wealth is increasingly concentrated in large cities, especially on the coasts, thanks to sectors such as technology and the financial industry, the system no longer works in favor of workers in states that used to depend on industry, such as Pennsylvania. But Trump's popularity has increased among other demographic groups, including Latinos, a group that until recently was considered an important target for Democrats. However, Harris has not been able to achieve the desired success with this large block of voters with a Latino background. Changing the status. There is a saying in the United States that, sometimes you have to break eggs to make an omelet, meaning that sometimes things have to be destroyed in order to fix them. Many considered Kamala Harris the candidate of the ruling system, while Trump, who is considered an anti-system candidate, promised in his campaign for radical change, saying that everything would be completely different under his presidency, indicating that the victory of Harris, a member of the current administration, would be a continuation of the status quo. This promise resonated with Americans, many of whom feel that something must change, and they found the speech directed at them when Trump described the United States in a bleak picture, as a country in decline and full of immigrants. Trump seems to have an unerring instinct about what worries people. In post-vote polls, 73% of his voters said that the most important thing to them was that Trump was able to bring about the necessary change. Ending conflicts. There was much speculation before the election about whether the conflict in the Middle East would cost the Democrats votes. For many Jewish Americans, Biden's support for Israel was insufficient, while many Arab Americans saw it as too much. This was reflected in post-vote polls, where a large majority of Trump voters said the United States should support Israel more. However, the decisive factor in Trump's victory may be his determination to keep the United States out of international conflicts as much as possible. He promises, for example, to end the war in Ukraine quickly, which some Americans see as an advantage because it means less of their tax money going abroad. Trump's victory was no accident, it was the result of a calculated strategy, timing, and an understanding of the pulse of the American electorate. Whether you view it as a political masterstroke or a turning point in history, it remains a story worth analyzing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into the events that shape our world.